I'll work directly with the HR department to get it administered if we go that route. And if we figure out if we want to do it through payroll deduction or allow them to sign up, they can sign up with a credit card or a bank account directly, but we can still offer it as a group benefit. So it's an optional thing. It's much like life insurance and some of the additional insurances that you can add for other plans. We work the same way as that.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, thank you for the information.
Thank you.
We have a meeting rules that we can't vote on something
understand.
at the same meeting that it's presented to us. So that gives us time to think about what we want to do. So, one of the commissioners will have to bring it up and put it on the agenda at one of our meetings in the future.
Sounds good. Do
Thank
y'all
you.
have any other questions, or? Most of that's laid out right there. Y'all feel free to
Right.
keep that. I have business cards. If y'all do need them to contact me and ask any questions, you feel free to do that.
If you will, leave one of your business cards with
I
Miss Sylvia, please.
I'll do that. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Michael.
we're on to department reports. Tony, if you,
Yes, sir. First item I have is to request a line item transfer of $2,500 from our road building material line item and put $500 in safety supplies and $2,000 in other miscellaneous supplies, and this is in my gasoline budget.
So moved.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, the miscellaneous line, what's,
Those are items that are charged to the shop that doesn't necessarily get charged to a piece of equipment. So that would be any of our shop supplies, and those kind of items, parts that,
Okay, anything else? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion carries.
the second item I have, I think I need to break up. So item number one, I would like to get a resolution accepting the resignation of Ronald Chandler, who had to resign due to health reasons.
so moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Do you know how many years Ronald has been with us?
9.
Okay. All right, anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Second item, I would like to get a resolution to accept the resignation of Jerry Raspberry, operator who resigned this past Friday.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
And then the third item would be, I'd like to request a resolution advertising hire replacements for these two individuals.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Tony.
Tony, you do have one more. We need a resolution for that
HVAC,
HVAC
sure.
before you leave. That's under, it should be under yours, is that right? Or is it under courthouse?
Yours.
Under mine?
We
It's under
did,
Tony's, you was gonna make the resolution.
Yeah.
Make a resolution to, allow Tony to, purchase the air conditioned HVAC for the sheriff's department up front, and also in that same resolution to tint the windows above the sheriff's department, where they're sitting out there in the,
We need to add that to the agenda before we vote on it. We did not amend the meeting agenda to add that item to the meeting agenda.
so procedurally, we'll have to have a unanimous vote
You can
to
do it by unanimous consent.
change the,
can I get a resolution that we amend the agenda and add this portion of Tony's to the agenda for the commission?
So moved. Second.
so we have a motion and a second to amend the meeting agenda, allowing for Tony to request a resolution for the installation of the
HVAC.
HVAC for the front of the courthouse. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so now,
Now can I have a resolution for Tony to purchase the HVAC and also the window tinting above the where the sheriff's, or where the entryway of the courthouse.
You're making a resolution.
Am I?
Yeah,
I just did.
yeah, you asked for one.
Oh, well, I'm making one.
Okay. Jimmy has a motion to approve, Tony, with the attachment that was presented to us in the work session. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to be a part of that resolution. I'd like to have where the money's gonna come from.
Come out of building road, our building fund, is that correct?
That's where you want it to come from.
I guess.
Sure. I mean, is that where you want it to come from?
Is that where we have it? In our maintenance, I'm talking about building maintenance, I guess, is that what I'm talking about?
But this is the one for is it 3,000?
Yeah.
30
It's gonna be about, Tony said it's gonna be about 5,000 by the time it's
total
through with.
dollars.
Do we have it in our maintenance, our building maintenance fund?
Yes.
So that should be a part of our building maintenance fund,
Okay, so
Yes.
you're gonna amend the resolution, or the resolution request?
It's saying that money will come out of the building maintenance fund.
Okay, can we amend whoever seconded it? Okay, so we have an amendment on the second to allow for the purchasing of the HVA system for the front of the courthouse to become out of
the building maintenance fund.
building and maintenance fund, okay? Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Anybody
Chairman.
have anything else for Tony? Tony, you're welcome to leave if you would like to. Thank you.
Sir.
Okay, Sheriff, it's your turn.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
First of all, I'd like to ask for a resolution. I have to accept the resignation of Tyler Hayes, one of our jail employees.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right. The next is gonna be some requests for increase of budgeted line items that, I'd come to y'all back in 2016, kinda explained the way the inmate numbers were gonna go up, and they have, about 69% since 2016. Our inmate medical cost has gone up about 52% since 2016. And these, numbers here we've got listed, that kinda goes in relation to that. Our overtime issues have gone up, having to take people to the hospitals. The more people we have in there, the more trips to the hospital we're having to make. When the question come up about municipalities, when people come to jail on felonies, they become our problems. That's not misdemeanors and stuff like that are on the municipalities. When they become to the jail, then they become our problems. So, it's the higher those numbers go up, the higher it's gonna drive the inmate medical. It's gonna drive everything we have up. Cleaning supplies, because we're having to clean extra because of extra amounts of inmates that we have. To keep down staff, flu, whatever the case may be. So, it just continues to go up and up.
So, Sheriff, if I understand what you just said, you're asking us to increase these line items tonight. Am I understanding you correctly?
I mean, we're gonna be bust, by the end of the year. I mean, that's gonna be our issues.
Well, where we are is that we're talking about a cumulative number here of nearly $200,000.
$200,000,
for-
yes, sir.
Increase in the number of employees required, the overtime, retirement compensation, matching Social Security, the inmate medical, cleaning supplies and the building, the facilities maintenance. And we're at a fully utilized revenue. We budgeted all of our money. So if we're gonna carve out this $200,000 that you're gonna need, it's gonna take us some time to figure out where that's gonna come from.
I
Because
understand.
that's gonna have to come out of other line items in your department and other line items in other people's departments. Cause there's no pot of cash sitting around.
Well, I understand that, but we got
Yeah.
revenue that everybody's talked about is gonna come in. and,
Right.
You know, I'm just explaining
Yeah,
to what we're looking at.
Yeah,
And
I
I've explained
understand.
that since 16.
yeah,
Things are gonna continually get
Right.
worse, and all the state's problems become our problems.
right,
And these are things that we can't get around. Some federal judge comes in and explains to us what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna
I
happen.
understand.
It don't matter about the dollar figure, whatever.
Right, right. And there's no doubt that, and we've had that happen before in
We've
Chilton
had,
County.
exactly,
Forced us to build a new jail.
exactly.
And with this occupancy increasing the way it has, I mean, I totally understand your problem. I'm just saying that, you know, if we were to pass this tonight, Sylvia would pass out on the floor, because,
I don't blame her.
you know, she and I met this
I
morning
don't
about
blame her.
just where in the world this money would come from.
Well,
You know, and there is an opportunity if this bill passes to get a little money to subsidize some of that, but this bill hasn't even passed
I
yet.
understand that.
Well, and I
I'm
think,
just standing here in line and just allowing people to understand what's going on,
Right.
that why we need what we need of it.
Well, you have about 100 more inmates than you had, what, 2 years ago?
Well, I'll just kind of read over it. I mean, it kind of spells it out.
either way, Sheriff, I think we talked
Right
about,
note here.
we talked about this in a work session, that we're gonna have to get it in a work session and before we can, and see where we're gonna get the money before we can vote on this. There's no way it's possible for us to vote on this for $200,000, not know where it's
Right.
coming from.
Well,
But we don't wanna wait till the last minute to do it
Right,
neither.
and
And
that's
I
what
understand
I
what you're
just want y'all
saying.
to understand what's
Right.
going on. In 2016, our average inmate count was 139 inmates. 2017, it went to 185 inmates. 2018 went to 235 inmates, and we're still clicking away right now. But you know, as you can see, it stepped up gradually. Well, it stepped up tremendously here. And that's what we're dealing with. I mean, it's just going to do what we can to try to, ones that don't need to be there or not a risk to society, if we can get them out of there, know that they're gonna come back, you know, we'll try to cut them loose and get them out of there.
Bond them out.
Yeah, we'll bond them out. But, you know, once it comes down to it, if it's somebody that's a menace to society that can't be turned loose, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, you have
We
to
got-
house them,
We
keep the
gotta house them.
public safe.
And, you know, I think, Commissioner Langston, you asked about the cost is $35 per day is what municipalities pay. I know a lot of people jumped up and down about that, but start calling around.
Well, just for the public, when a municipality arrests someone, generally speaking, if it's not a felony, they allow that person to bond out, so they'll come process them and bond them out. If it's a felony, the minute they go into our jail, they become Chilton County's inmates. They're not Clantons or Jimisons or Maples, Whitfields or Thorsby's. They're Chilton County's if it's a felony. And then we're responsible for housing and medical and all those costs associated with them. And I would venture to say that the majority of the people that we deal with are drug-related offenses, whether they're stealing to support their habit or it actually is a
Just cause of drugs,
drug-related
right.
arrest. But that's a growing, well, it's an epidemic
It's
in
an
our
epidemic
county,
across the nation right now.
no doubt. And there's, you know, there's nowhere to go with it but figure out how we're gonna pay for it. But we're not prepared to give you that answer tonight, Sheriff.
Well, I knew you wouldn't be, but like I said, I just wanted to make sure that y'all are aware of it and know what's going on with it. Like I said, back in 2016, when I saw this coming, I explained what it was gonna be like. And pretty much word for word, it has become what I said it was gonna be.
Well, prison reform has dumped a lot of these lower tier criminals back out on the street, and we continue to process them in and out of our
They're not violent enough to go to state prison, but they're violent enough, we've got to deal with them.
Right.
You know,
So, I'm sorry, Alan, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I brought this up in our work session, and I'd like for the public to know it too. Eventually, we're gonna hit a capacity. We're gonna hit all the people that we can put in that jail. And when we do, there's gonna be, just like happened 20 years ago, that federal judge is gonna come in here and they're gonna tell us to build a bigger jail. And so we need to be prepared for that, because that's gonna happen. This new reform bill that the state passed is killing the small counties.
I mean, it's just continual. I read these numbers to you. I mean, that's what I said, you know, it's gonna continually go up, because, I mean, if there's no punishment for the crimes,
People
you know, it's
continue to.
just like a child, when you don't spank it butt whenever they coming up, and when they get on up, teenagers, they're gonna be running a household, and that's what we're dealing with now. We can arrest them all day long. When they come back out, you know, that nothing ever happens to them, that's our problem. If people wanna blame the judges, has nothing to do with the judges.
And Sheriff, when we built that jail 20-something years ago, it was only built for 110,
169 bed jail.
169,
That's what it
okay.
was designed to hold. We, down through the years, we've got it up to, I believe, like 232 now. Cause we took an exercise room in there and we turned it into more bunks, bought more bunks, put in there. But that's about the only growing room we got left.
I just like, general public to know that. It was not built for what we're putting in there right now.
Mr. Chairman, can I add something?
Please.
I met with John about 3 weeks ago, wouldn't it? He's probably got the largest turnover in our county. In the last 18 months, he's had 24 people that left. One tonight makes 25.
And a couple more on the horizon.
Easy. On this guy here, did he leave, John, because he found a better job? This affects public safety, guys.
It does, and it is a problem
It is.
that I would say is duly noted, John. We've got to address the issue that Steve brought up, most likely in future budgets. But in this budget, what I would ask is for you and Gerald to work closely with Sylvia and Makisha, and as we get closer to these line items running out of available funds, let's communicate and get out ahead of that. We know where the problem is. Y'all can be looking for areas that there may be some excess funds in. So we have the options of either taking money away from other departments or borrowing money that'll have to be repaid off the top of next year's budget. But those are just thoughts for you guys, and I know y'all are aware of that, and mostly I said that where the public would hear it.
He's on pace to have a turnover of anywhere from 25 to 30 employees this year.
Well,
Is that about right?
This 110 for inmate health care, we're not gonna have a choice but to find that.
And there's nothing we can do about it. It's inmate health care. We have to provide it. I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna have to,
He's been hit with a couple of things on the salaries, and most of the rest of that hinges off of that. But
right.
he had the helicopter crash, several manhunts, and then the need for additional staffing at the jail. So those are what has happened to his budget in salaries and wages.
well, if we hadn't done what we did last year, whenever we changed and hired the company that's coming in, help negotiating our bills, our inmate health care will be over $600,000 this
No
year.
telling what it would be.
It's an issue that we can't go to sleep on, because it's gonna bite us, and you've been telling us this for 3 years, and you are right.
That's what we go to sleep with every night.
Yeah.
It's just knowing it, and we still have to deal with it and work with it every day. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta do our job, and we gotta house these people.
All right, we'll work on it.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
We've been put on notice.
Thanks, Sheriff.
We have been duly notified.
Been put on notice.
All right, I don't think I'm missing anyone else coming to commissioner reports. I'll just touch base for just a second on under me. We had an exit interview today for our 2016-17 financial audit. That's the first audit that this county has had since 2010. And during that period of time, we've been through several administrators and a completely new office staff. And of course, we had some pretty high expectations, or low expectations, I guess, that there was gonna be a lot of things wrong. And I guess they really were, but there was only one major issue in that report. And this report will eventually be made public. It has not even come to us in its worded format yet. So, but the one thing that we were cited with, and there are three different opinions. You get an unqualified opinion, which means there's nothing wrong. You get a qualified opinion, which means there's something wrong, but it's not disastrous. And then you get an adverse opinion, which is very disastrous when it comes to the possibility of bonding or other things. But the only qualified opinion that we had was regarding our capital assets. And we did not have our capital assets duly recorded in our accounting software, which understates the value of the assets of the county. So that was the only major issue that we had. Now, there were a lot of findings, and those findings you'll learn more about, and we'll present that to you when we get the actual report itself. But most of the findings was from lack of documentation for things that we did during that period of time, where we went through Connie resigning, Terry stepping in as the interim, and us hiring Krista with 3 administrators during that audit year. The paperwork trail was not what the state would have liked for it to be. So we're gonna have a few findings with lack of documentation. But really, all in all, considering everything that we went through that year, we felt like we came out today with an A- or a B+ at least. So it was very pleasing to us. We were very fearful that it could be worse than that.
Amen.
So I guess there's no other commission reports. Am I overlooking anyone?
No.
So we'll move on to the administrator reports.
I'd like to request a resolution to hire Carmen Johnson as a part-time driver for the transit system effective April 24th at the rate that's shown on the attachment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to request a resolution to authorize Jesse Carter to sign the 2019 certification and assurances application for the Federal Transit Administration.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Are there any more nominations for the Board of Equalization?
Yes, Wade Connell.
Is that the only one we've got? Or do we have any more?
That's the only one that's been brought forward so far, unless some of you guys have someone.
We're supposed to nominate 3.
Yeah, well, I was saying there's supposed to be more than one.
Well,
Just leave them open.
I do,
do y'all want to just leave them open
Can we-
and we'll?
can we till our next meeting?
So, somebody told me, or someone told me that, local real estate agents would fit the criteria because they understand a lot about the values of property and those kinds of things. So keep that in mind if you want to reach out to someone for
think-
nomination.
I think Clanton, 2 or 3 of Clanton's they nominate 3 also. I think at least 2 of them are real estate people.
Okay.
So we're gonna re-nominate Wade, our first, one we've already approved him to be. So
Yes.
they're not gonna deny him this time?
No.
Okay. 'Cause,
Well, I can't say that. I don't know what they'll do.
well, if they do, we need to find out why.
Okay.
I would, just if this is open for conversation.
Well, the seat that was open last time was a seat where everyone had to vote on that nomination. And so there were 3 votes. It would be the city, the county, and the state, the way I understand it. and there were multiple people that were viable for that seat. And these nominations are not subject to that, is my understanding. So there are different kinds of seats on this board, but this is not one that'll be voted on after we vote on it.
Well, if we recommend somebody from this commission, if they don't accept our recommendation, we need to know why.
Exactly. Well,
Because
didn't-
we
Well,
take,
I don't think they have to, you know, they have to agree on one and we have to agree on one when it's has to be a mutual agreement. I don't think you really have to give the other party a why. Just,
well, I mean, if we have
I mean,
enough
you can go
confidence in
ask, but I don't
somebody
think
to nominate them, then yes, we should know why they would not accept our nomination.
Well, this came out of the State Department of Revenue, the way I understand it. And my
Yeah,
understanding.
really.
My understanding is that they just, there was an internal vote, so essentially, our vote was nominating somebody for them to vote on.
Okay.
So I don't, like I said, I don't believe these seats are subject to that.
Okay.
All right, is there any more business?
I move we close the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a
Adjourn.
second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.